This section I will talk about key achievements this year, provide a quick update of the EMEA activities, and a high-level vision going forward. MediaTek in numbers. This is a more easily digested part of the presentation, as you notice. 0 to 150 million. What's that? It's the units of LTE chipsets per year that we've achieved in only 1.5 years. It's the world's fastest LTE ramp ever. And it's a tremendous achievement given the enormous complexity of creating competitive smartphone chipset systems nowadays. It includes massive new hardware and software development and all of the necessary testing and trialing. Many have tried to challenge the big incumbents' lock on the LTE chipset market, and only one company has really succeeded, and that's MediaTek. 10, 20. Of course, Helio, X10, P10, X20, our new flagship brand launched and immediately established itself as a credible leading solution in the marketplace. Why? 51, 356. What's this? It's our first time we set a world-leading benchmark score for one of our smartphone chip products. So going from what we were perceived as being an entry-level 2 years ago to perhaps a mid-level supplier last year, we really do have the top end this year, and it's been verified over and over again. This number is from December 2014. We've come much further than this, but this was the first time we hit #1 benchmark result for our chipset for smartphones. And I think it's undeniable that we do mean business on the high end and that we have been successful. And the secret sauce for doing this is, as usual, on the border of hardware and software. It's not about hardware, it's not about the core, it's not about software, it's about both, it's about the system. It's what we've been saying over and over again, and that's what we do with our core pilot, with our multiprocessing approach using the ARM core. But it's about the secret sauce, about the system. That's how we achieve these numbers. So that's just an article confirming. 480. 120, what's this? World's first 480 frames per second full HD video for 1/16 playback. World's first 120 frames per second display support in a mobile chip. The list of new image processing, video, and multimedia features that we introduced only in this last year is long. Here are just two of the key things. Note that the iPhone 6s can still only get 240 frames per second or 120 frames per second in full HD. And it also hasn't got support for 120 frames per second display. So there are many, many features here where we are actually leading. 3.0, 10. This is going to end soon. You don't have to worry. I'm not going to keep on doing this forever. Core Pilot 3.0, the world's first tri-cluster mobile heterogeneous computing platform in the deca-core Helio X20. We've led the industry in mobile multiprocessing into heterogeneous computing since the delivery of the world's first big little chip, the quad-core 8135, in 2013, over 2 years. Since then, we introduced the first octa-core and now the world's first deca-core SoC. However, it's not about the actual core count, as has been rather violently pointed out by our competition and then copied by them. We know this. It's what I said before. It's about how you build the most efficient mobile system, performing the best and lasting the longest. And this latest Core Pilot version supports tri-cluster CPUs combined with heterogeneous computing, meaning that it enables GPU and CPU fusion together to save power, utilize the dark bandwidth on the chip, and it works great. 8173. The world's first A72 SoC. High performance, clockwork SoC design used in the new Fire TV. It's been demonstrated to run Chromebook as well. It's just an amazing chip and good partnership with ARM that allowed us to do this as the first supplier. 2020, 80% less technical. This means that by 2020, 80% of adults will have a smartphone supercomputer in their pockets. It's just something worth thinking about. It does change how we behave and the opportunities we have in life. 6.4 billion versus 1 billion. This is a very important statistic. This is the total population of developing countries versus developed ones. And we are enabling the next billions of users, and they're not all in Europe and the US. They're in a lot of other places. The world is getting flatter. The requirements are getting more similar, and the markets are getting more similar. Our approach to this, and the question is then how we accomplish these numbers and how will we power the next billions of users. First thing I'd like to say is that the market structure has developed as we predicted, according to our super mid outlook early last year. There are still variations in different geographies, but on a macro level, this is what's happening. We have ever more capable mid-range devices at a reasonable price, and the market structure here is not to be confused with the market segments. We still have low, mid, high-end products in this. It's just that the whole market is compressing. And in general, this has happened the most where there's been proper chipset competition. So we look forward to the markets where there hasn't been enough competition, for instance, for LTE. I think this will accelerate in those markets. And this analysis is particularly interesting for the US market that was long the stronghold for carrier-subsidized plans. It seems like the wireless retail models are finally becoming more universal. And here is a quote from IDC. I won't read all of it, but it says the consumer mobile market has seen a dramatic shift in the way services are being marketed and paid for by consumers. And I've been waiting for the day that this would happen in the United States, and it happened this year, at least on the way to happening. Market's getting more inclusive, access to technology is getting more inclusive, and we see price compression as the subsidies decline, basically. Talked about the hero product brand, Helio. I won't go more into detail. This is interesting. It's been incredibly difficult to manage all the complexities of the wireless standards, the processor systems, and the multimedia features all at the same time. And then add power constraints and cost constraints on top of that. It's very, very difficult. And I just think the LTE ramp, again, I want to emphasize it's being rock solid and just fantastic work by our engineering to pull this off. It's amazing, We've had, I won't mention names, but there are many companies have tried, nobody's succeeded. It's a challenge to the number one incumbent. Europe, 70 million total smartphones expected to ship in EMEA in 2015. Acer, Sony, and HTC are shipping MediaTek LTE smartphones across Europe, Russia, and the Middle East. Alcatel just launched an LTE smartphone at IFA. Vodafone, Orange, and EE launched MediaTek own brand LTE smartphones. And from what I hear, these are selling quite well. Local brands are getting tractions at a higher value as the mid-tier market develops in Europe. We have companies like Wiko, BQ, Kazam, and others. They also get ranged by operators like Kazam by Telefonica. We also see the first Android One smartphone shipping now in Europe. This is with BQ. This was recently announced in September. Also, I'd like to add that formal VoLTE and LTE and voice over Wi-Fi testing has been completed with operators in Europe. And here you can see some of the logotypes, the brand names we're working. So we're doing real well in Europe, and it will continue. And I think really it's about what the slide says, enabling the next wave of LTE, the real big wave, the mass market wave. So what about competitive know-how, organization, cost structure? What's our advantages? Well, we talked about that before. I won't go into this in detail, but MediaTek was founded and grew up in the new economic center of gravity in the Far East, and we grew up with emerging markets. We kind of learned how to handle that, the cost pressure, the support pressure that you need, and then we added the technology to that. We now truly have a global presence from emerging to worldwide, and we have a history of democratizing the market to provide the best price performance in all the geographies we've been active. Our R&D is really also about transforming the user experiences we've seen in the multimedia space and how we've been managing multiprocessing. We're doing really new things that haven't been done before, and we're very fast-paced when we do them. We have a different background in terms of product portfolio than all of the competitors. We come more from a consumer electronics background, whereas others come from computing or perhaps from telecommunication. We think the way the world is going right now, we have a big advantage having done so many different consumer applications as we have and having that in our portfolio. And of course, last but not least, I still want to emphasize that the turnkey reference design. It's not all about technology. It's how you bring this technology to the customers and make them successful. And our new business model that we introduced, the complete reference turnkey design, has been tremendously successful and will be repeated in all the other segments that we're in going forward. So we have a clear vision for the future, and I'm not going to go over this in a great detail. Some of you may have heard about it before. We call it the brand new world. And this is basically just kind of an interesting look at the world from the Big Bang at the left all the way to infinity on the right, sort of like at a super macro level. You can't get more super macro level than this. I'll challenge you to do that. Anyway, what we can see is that we're right now in transition from historic times to the brand new world. And in the greatest scheme of evolution, we see it only as a glitch. And what do I mean by that? Historically, we had no internet-connected cloud, only localized data. In the brand new world, we have ubiquitous cloud and unconstrained bandwidth. Everyone and everything is connected and analyzed. Historically, the majority of people live close to the subsistence level. This is what we call the camelback market, the rich and the poor, nothing in the middle. Now, the majority of people have disposable income, what we call the super mid-market, so the hump has kind of inverted. Everybody has the same opportunity. Historically, information was available to a few at a slow pace. And of course, in the brand new world, information is available to all instantly. So this will create massive evolutionary impact. And we're right in the middle of this now. We're right in the glitch. And I will not go into detail of these three phases here, but we're somewhere right here at the end of that phase. And to simplify it, the first standalone phase is the old. The connected phase is pretty much now. Partially cloud-based, single-purpose services, connected, but not very intelligent or flexible. The unified devices, this is our vision for the future, and this is what we're preparing for. All things cloud-connected and made active through sensors, actuators, and robotic. You may have heard about the expression ambient computing. Devices that are aware of what's going on around them at all times. And the notion is sort of apps with legs. Today, the notion is you click and something happens. Tomorrow is you click and it's just not on the screen, but anything can happen. Or what's around you can alert you. It's much more interactive. So we see multiple unified devices act together as one more capable device. And this means we have sharing of software and hardware resources. I think we'll hear Joe talk a little bit more about this. We have something we call cross-mount, which we believe is the first attempt to really do this in a successful way, meaning that you can actually move functionality from one device to the other and share the resources. We also believe that we'll see the emergence of new, more life-important applications than we have so far, like food farming, transportation, health, energy, climate control, things that really will change our lives for the better. Uber in all honor and, Airbnb and all these services, but I mean, energy, health, other things. There are many more things to be done. So to do this, we need hyperconnectivity and everything connected. We also need more local processing to achieve this ambient computing, to be able to have all the devices around us be more aware. But as we do this, we create more complexities. So we have to make the systems immersive and easy to use. We have to simplify the complexities while increasing the abilities. So that's a big challenge. And the technologies we need are 5G, deep learning, and really low power, and a bunch of other stuff. I'm just pointing at a few things here. So basically, our starting position in this brand new world, we think it's great. We have a broad product portfolio, many essentially unique technologies. We have the labs and venture initiatives, and we have a lot of ecosystem and engagements worldwide. We also have an inclusive approach in partnership with platforms, partners, customers, alliances, developers to ensure open compatible systems and devices that are affordable for everyone. We also have a very large and diverse customer base. And with this and our track record to constantly drive change repeatedly on time, we are exceptionally well positioned for growth. And here is just a slide showing our path to democratization. On the right-hand side, of course, that's the next step. Instead of IoT, I just used alternate good and useful things, as opposed to just things. Anyway, I've been talking a lot, and I'm almost done with my presentation. I want to show you this picture. This is part from our new branding campaign. You can see all the posters around you. We've actually created kind of a virtual city. In this city, you will see many things happen in the future, different scenarios, and it's building on our Everyday Genius branding that we started last year. And I'll show you our Genius video next, and that's the end of my presentation. So thank you very much.
This is our story, a story about our mission to make great technology available to everyone. We're seeing the biggest global market transformation take place right now, and we're in a prime position to make the most of it by pioneering technology that's affordable and accessible to everyone, not just the lucky few. You see, we're dreaming of a world where everything and everyone is connected. Whether you want to develop the next life-changing app to improve the health of millions, invent smart food that knows when it needs to be eaten to help your day-to-day life, design intelligent clothing so you know exactly where you're going, make driverless cars a reality for every driveway, or change the way we use electricity to the benefit of all. Our vision is a world where people can turn their ideas into reality. And we're pioneering the technology to make it happen. That's Everyday Genius. To explore our vision of the world and read more of our stories, go to MediaTek.com.